Honestly, I hope it goes a little lower. Let's chill out and let it go lower. You want to know why? Because Bitcoin, no doubt, is going to be 10x in the next 2 to 3 years at least. Maybe sooner. I mean, Larry Fink said it himself that don't be surprised if you see a $700,000 Bitcoin in the next little while. You know, he said it himself. In fact, let me see if I can get. I think I saw something on TikTok. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this, guys. I mean,
it could be a proper hedge against maybe hope security or equities. The question is, could you see a 2 or 5%?
huh? Yeah, guys. Let's take a look at this. Let me set this up. Yeah, look at this back in July. I mean, they're buying Bitcoin like crazy, dude. Institutions institutions are buying Bitcoin like crazy. Crazy, bro. And a dude, I forget what his Bitcoin Hodl on YouTube. He's a really good guy. He said he was talking about institutions buying, and he made this point. He's like, listen, and it stuck with me. It really stuck with me. He said something along the lines of this: Bitcoin will be this low as long as the institutions are buying. So no, let me rephrase that. He said it like this. He said Bitcoin will start going parabolic when institutions are done buying. Are done buying. You know? And I think we're in a massive accumulation phase for institutions, right? So I think within that, right? What needs to happen, right? What needs to happen for the climate for institutions to be okay with buying Bitcoin, okay with buying Ethereum, and the top coins out there that will survive the next 5 to 10 years. They need one, retail to not be involved, not be inflating prices while they're trying to buy. So hence all the whale games that you're seeing right now. Hence all the institutional, freaking whale, freaking big wallet crashes that are being caused. And also with Trump announcing tariffs and doing all this stuff, crashing the markets. I mean, I know he's probably being forced to do that because he holds so much himself. He would want this stuff to just go up. But the government, these big banks and BlackRock, Grayscale, they control our government, bro. I mean, the government doesn't do anything without their say so through special interests and things like that. I mean, we all know that. You know what I mean? So, in my research in the last few weeks and a couple months, I've come to the conclusion that we're just going to have to be okay with what's going on right now and find a way to capitalize on these types of conditions. And for me, it's not, even though the saying is true, buy while there's blood in the streets and things like that, at the same time, it kind of feels like they're using that against us a little bit, in a sense where we're wasting time, scaling into altcoins and things like that, when really we should be accumulating Bitcoin and accumulating Ethereum like right now, and allowing the process of these institutions to get theirs, right? To get their fill, to get the lion's share of what's going on, because they're going to take it regardless. So as a small time investor like you and me, I think we need to be doing the same thing they're doing, and that is buying up, Bitcoin and Ethereum and things like that, and kind of not trying to go against the grain, because there's going to be a time to buy altcoins. Like we will see the clear signals. I don't think we're going to miss out. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to be like, oh man, that altcoin season came and went. I didn't know it was. I don't think so this time. I think there's going to be a clear, progression. And it's just that most of the public is not going to believe it. I think that's the thing. I think that most of the public is not going to believe that we're going to come to a point where it's like, okay, now altcoins are going to have their final hurrah. Because 99% of these altcoins are going to fucking go to zero. I'm sorry, they are. I mean, look at what we were investing in Vera the other day, and it just freaking tanked. And that was a prediction market. I mean, some people say it's still going, but I don't know. That type of no one's concerned about the price on Sol. That's kind of weird. But I think a lot of these altcoins that are utility based are just smart guy meme coins. They're just all this tech that you and I can't really check and see if it's real or if they're really doing anything. And they put out these reports and stuff like that, and then we get excited about it and we buy, and then In this case, they don't go up at all, but they go up like meme coins, bro. How come these coins, a lot of these altcoins, don't hold their price? If there was any value on them at all, they would hold. And I think the whole thing about, well, all coins go down with the market. I mean, yeah, but some of them really shouldn't be going down this much if they're going to be, on the forefront, or being heavily utilized in Web 2 as well as Web 3, right? Like some of these altcoins claim to be helping, the real world, like VeChain. Oh yeah, we're tracking supply chains and this and that. Well, how come VeChain isn't like a real $1 billion company? It has a couple billion market cap, but that's a market cap. How come it's not really showing like $1 billion in tech sales and stuff like that? So I think we're getting lost in the market caps of things. But anyway, I just wanted to look at this Larry Fink. Let's see here. Hopefully you guys are going still with me. Um,
Or
yeah, he's like, yeah.
of crypto. It was of
You see how he
crypto. It was
You see how he backed off of that? He's like, that's not my prediction. That's not because he knows if he came out and said, hey, Bitcoin is, because all the retail would be rushing to buy it. But he's like, oh no, it's not. It's still speculative, guys. Bro, I mean, Bitcoin at 85K. I think we're gonna look in about 2 or 3 years and be like, wow, I could have gotten in on Bitcoin at 85K. I could have went and got point one, point two, point three, Bitcoin, and I could have been set for the next 20, 30 years. But I was buying altcoins. I was dumping my money into altcoins that were slowly bleeding out. Because keep in mind, guys, I think another thing is this. That's also really really crazy is that we some of these altcoins, like look at Cadena, they can just drop down like to zero. Like we think that these things are like stable because they've been hanging around the same price for a long time, or just drop down 90%, kind of sitting there. Bro, devs can pull the plug on these just like meme coins. But look at Larry Fink.
very clear to me that crypto is a currency of fear, and that's okay.
To some extent.
Yeah, but that's you. If you're frightened of your debasement of your currency, or you're frightened of your economic or political stability of your country, you could have an internationally based instrument called Bitcoin that will overcome those local fears. And so I'm a big believer in the utilization of that as an instrument. And so if that becomes true, and
Oh, oops.
and you see that it is it could be a proper hedge against maybe hope securities or equities.
Yeah.
The question is, could you see a 2 or 5% allocation? I was with a sovereign wealth fund during this week, and that was the conversation. Should we have a 2% allocation? Should we have a 5% allocation? If everybody adopted that conversation, but, you know, it would be 500,000, 600,000, 700,000 for Bitcoin.
Larry, does it also?
I'm not promoting that, by the way. So that is not my promotion. Or
Larry, if you allow me.
Bitcoin could go with.
Should I be buying cryptocurrencies or should I avoid it?
If you believe that countries are going to continue to debase their currency, if you believe that there's going to be global rise of insecurity, owning crypto assets or gold are assets of fear. You own these assets because you're frightened of the debasement of your assets. You're worried about your financial security. You're worried about your physical security. And there's a strong belief that is a good hedge against optimism.
Jamie, you were a little skeptical of crypto at one point. You're still skeptical.
I've gotten away with no damage so far. Crypto is real. I mean, blockchain, stable coins. You have a JP Morgan deposit coin. You can move stuff. Smart contracts is real. All that stuff is real. It will be used by all of us to facilitate, better transactions.
I would say the biggest question from central banks is what is the role of tokenization and digitization? How quickly should they think about digitizing their own currency? What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have, what does that mean for bank payments? What does that mean for the payment companies like MasterCard and Visa? All these are being questioned right now. I will make, I think we spend so much time talking about AI. We're not spending enough time talking about how quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset and the opportunity we're going to have a digital wallet and moving, ETFs and other things through a digital wallet. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly. And I think most countries are ill prepared for that and underappreciate how technology is changing that